Oh God, holy crap, dude. That car means business. Whoa, hey, there we go. I got a little flustered there. We call that a full pull around here, by the way. Hey guys, welcome back to HRG Offroad. Today we have a brand new 2024 CX-90. There is only one problem with this car. It sits too low. So we're gonna fix that today with a lift kit. This is the Premium Plus version with a 3.3 liter, 6-cylinder, whatever it is. But this kit will fit all, even including the Select, the Preferred, and the PHEV versions with the 4-cylinder and the hybrid system. So the suspension with all of those cars is exactly the same. Now this is a 1.5-inch lift kit, front and rear. Comes with all the parts that you need to make this car sit a little bit higher off the ground. That's what everybody needs, is a little bit higher off the ground. I mean, let's just face it. Now this lift kit is available right now at hrgoffroad.com. For the front, this is all you're gonna need. Basically your 2 spacers, a couple of impacts. You've got wrenches, 14, 17, and 19 millimeter wrenches, 14, 18, and 19 inch, 14, 18, and 19 millimeter sockets, 3/8 drive, and then you got 18 and 19 half-inch drive. I used a wobble socket, 14 for the driver's side, upper strut nuts, whatever. 17, and then you're gonna need this for taking off the sway bar end link, and then a pair of small pliers, heavy hammer, pry bar, and that's pretty much it. So you can see it's basic tools. You don't need anything special to do the front on this. All right, we're gonna start by taking this bolt off of the upper ball joint. There you go. That works. Big pry bars. They're not just for breaking stuff anymore. All right, so now we're gonna tap on this to knock it off of the strut. It's a compression fit. It won't just fall off, so you do have to give it a little bit of encouragement. All right, at this point, it's not gonna go down far enough to get it off, so you have to just pry like this. That gives it a little bit more room to drop. There it goes. This is a 2-person job. One person will need to pry on that, and then the other person gets it loose. There it is. There you go. Now that this is off, take the nuts off at the top.
Yeah, for some reason we lost the audio for this part, as usual, but as you can see, pull the strut out, and you're going to attach the spacer to the top of the strut using the OEM nuts. Now, the nuts that come with the kit will be used to attach the spacer to the shock tower, but as you can see, it's a little bit challenging to get some leverage to get these nuts tight. So what I do is take a second wrench and connect it to the studs on the top of the spacer and wedge it against the ground. And that will give you the added leverage that you need to get those nuts really good and tight.
All right, so we did the front already, off camera unfortunately, but I'm gonna just go through with you how it is done. So you put the pry bar right there and you pull down, and this whole thing will move easily up and down as long as you have the sway bar link disconnected, obviously. But you should be able to press this down far enough to get the fork back into position on the strut. On the back of this strut, there is a tab that fits down into this fork. So the tab will line up with this. So if you have this in with these bolts wrong, it'll be 60 degrees turned if you don't put it in right. But always just remember your brake line tab is going to be on this side. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get it back where it was. But remember that tab goes into this, so if you don't have it looking like this when you're done, you know you've done something wrong. Once you've pried down on this, get your fork back in. You put this bolt back in on your fork right here, and then you'll put this bolt back in on the fork right there. And at that point, you will need to jack this assembly up to allow these 2 pieces to come together. So you'll push down on this and push up on this. The ball joint will drop through this hole, and then you can line that up. It's actually a really easy, and I'm making it sound easy, but it actually is pretty easy. But that should be it. And I want you guys to be careful of one last thing. You don't want to allow the axle to slide out of the inner cup. And if you pull this too far, the axle will come loose. inside the boot. But that's pretty much it. CX-90 was one of the easiest ones we've done lately, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. But we're gonna go on to the back now. The next thing we're gonna do is install the rear subframe spacers. And basically, it's just, we call them Pac-Man spacers. They're gonna slide in between the subframe and the body. These new cars all have studs, like captive studs that come out of the body. So we can't do a big subframe drop on these, unfortunately. Like the old ones where they had bolts, you could just put a longer bolt. But these, you're limited to the amount of thread that's exposed here, which is about 1/2 inch. We're gonna split the difference and put a 1/4 inch shim spacer, like a Pac-Man spacer is what we call them, in between here and here. All of this has to come off, and this piece has to come off as well to access those bolts. So we're just gonna do that real quick. 10mm bolts here, no big deal. With a little plastic one here. Our neighbors just started up their new Prius. Oh God, holy crap, dude. Holy shit. That car means business. Whoa, hey, there you go. I got a little flustered there. We call that a full pull around here, by the way. You can look at how bad this is. Oh no, look, it's got metal. It's got a metal cover. That's a plus. So we're gonna take these two nuts loose. Do not take them off. This is, you're just gonna slide these up like that, right in on top of the bolt. Slide them all the way in, tighten it back up. I didn't do left and right, I did front or back and then front, and that's how I recommend doing it. You know, taking them off in the back, and then we'll do the front too at the same time as well. So I already got this bolt out, but we're gonna take this loose and then put our spacer in. So we're right there with that one. This is gonna go here. And then we'll just bolt this whole thing right back up. There you go. And then just repeat this obviously on the other side, and that's it. Put all this plastic back on, and then you're good to go. Okay, so as you can see, to do the rears on the CX-90, you have to pull the back seat out. The third row seat has to come out. You are gonna have these two release handles here. Push those to the side like that, and then you can lift the bottom of the back seat up. And then there's two more hooks back here. So you actually have to pull from the back. It's instinctive to pull it this way, but you're gonna wanna pull up right on these two corners, and then it will unlatch from these two hooks here. And then the back seat will come out. There's just a piece of trim here that you unclip from the plastic. And I think, yeah, like this. So basically this just pulls out. There's some plastic clips here. So you're gonna wanna, ever so carefully, obviously, pull this up, and it just comes right off. And that allows you access to the nuts. The back is actually easier than the front. You can't reach around, so you're gonna need a helper. So one person needs to be inside the car loosening the nuts that hold the strut in, and the other person needs to catch it. Pull the strut out, and basically you're gonna attach the spacer to the strut with the factory hardware, and then there's two nuts that come with the kit to attach the spacer in the car, like you saw when we took it apart. That's pretty much it until you get to that point, and I'm gonna show you a trick on how to get this back together. We actually did this on the other side just now, so I'm gonna show you. It's gonna be right side, but it's the same for either side. All right, in the back we got 3 bolts, and that is it. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. And we're gonna take out this bolt first, and then this one, and then we're gonna loosen that one on the end there.
Yeah, somehow we don't have audio for these clips either, so if you are wondering what a Milwaukee cordless impact sounds like, here you go. And that's me fixing the edit in post.
So there is a trick to installing this in the back and getting this all back together. And what it is lining up this wheel hub with the solar control arm. So what we had to do is lift it with this jack, obviously, but what we also had to do is push this assembly here that way. So when it's all the way down, it hinges a little bit down and then backwards. So when you lift it up, just straight up and down, this arm ends up being way back here, and then nothing lines up. So the tricky part is, so you have to push the jack forward while you're jacking it up, which is not easy to do, but that is the key to getting this bolt to line back up. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is add this little brake line spacer right here. This is a 1/2-inch spacer. It just gives this ABS wire a little bit more slack. So it's basically just one little M6 bolt and a little aluminum spacer. It just brings this up just enough to give that enough slack. This car comes with 19-inch wheels and a 265/55. There's just like all-season radials, which are terrible off-road. What I want to show you guys is how the wheels are turned right here. You've got all this room in the back right here. So what you need to do is measure this distance. And now it's about 1.5 inches, but we're going to call it 1 inch just so we have a little bit of extra clearance for the bigger tires. So this combo here is actually a 30.5-inch tire. That's the distance from here to here, the diameter of it, 30.5. So let's say we add 1 inch here, which means the overall diameter is 2 inches bigger. So that's a 32.5. And I don't have all the tire sizes memorized, but I'm gonna put them on the screen right now. All 3 sizes. Now, I say all 3. You could do an 18-inch wheel on here, a 17 if you have the right offset. But I think a lot of these cars came with 19s and 20s. I think the more expensive ones came with 20s. And let's go around to the other side. I just want to show you. So as you can see, you've got about 1 inch here as well. And so a 32.5 should clear that without any issue. That's about as big as I would go on this, is a 32.5. We did test fit some 31s. That's a 255/70/17. And it would have worked okay, except the wheels needed to have a little bit less offset, meaning they're pushed outward a little bit. The offset on the wheels that we had laying around was too high. They were pushed too far in and actually contacted the brake caliper in the back. I'm just gonna put a photo up of what it looks like with those wheels just so you can get an idea. And I can also, if you want to, you could call us, 844-HRG-LIFT, and ask about tire sizes, offsets, and all that stuff. We can guide you. If you wanted to put some different wheels on here, we can help you with offset and width and all that stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to HRG Offroad. Today we have neighbors with really noisy cars. All right, let's try again. Maybe they won't start it up.